All right, gang, welcome back to Zielonka, and welcome back to what I'm going to be calling the reboot of our Can You Survive 25 series. We haven't done an episode on this series April, I think. Long time. We're coming up close to a year here very soon. And I said we'd be back soon, and we really weren't. There was a couple of reasons for that. One, I wanted to have a bit of a rethink. Why did I want to have a bit of a rethink? Well, it was probably one of the least liked series I think that I had done up until this point. I was going about things probably not the correct way. I was doing things probably the wrong way that people weren't really happy about. So I decided to, in essence, start over to an extent. We're still on the same map. Everything's still the same as it was, except we sold every single thing we had. Everything. We've basically dropped our total acreage down by half. We have just slightly over 6 acres, which before we had slightly over 12 acres. So we've dropped down significantly and kind of started anew, if you will. And what we're coming up to right now is our new start. And I will talk you through everything here in just a second. Let me just pull over here to the side, and we'll kind of go through it. Clearly, I have a new tractor and well, we've got the same kind of tanker with some liquid fertilizer in it. But let me talk you through what the plan is here and what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish here. So we still, obviously, our first farm, I didn't want to change that. I felt like that would be too big of a change. So we still have greenhouses. They're just in a different location. So if we go to the map, we actually now own this piece of land here. The piece of land up here that we had up here, this 10 plot, has been sold. We now have this plot of land for our greenhouses. Our second farm has been significantly changed to the point where we don't even have a second farm. We have a field to begin the potential process of making a second farm, but we really don't have a second farm. That is part of the reason, well, part of the cost, I guess, of removing everything and selling everything. We obviously didn't have as much money as we did then, right? Now, the amount of money we start with is it makes no difference, the exact same amount that we had in the last episode in April. But as far as the amount of money we had to put back into making a new farm, if you will, we didn't have enough money for that, clearly. So, but first things first, let's just kind of talk through what we got here. So we've got 6 hydroponic greenhouses here, which are going to be fantastic for us. They're going to help us out tremendously. We've got a tree greenhouse, which I've never used this before, so I'm very excited to utilize it. We also have a pickle production. We've used this in the past. We're going to use this here as well. We're going to probably do a different production from the greenhouses, but nonetheless, we are going to be doing some pickled products of some sort. We have a shed here, and in the shed, I have an actual planter, which I couldn't pass up when I was selling stuff. It was in the used market. It's obviously 57% damaged. We really need to service it. Right now, it's just kind of sitting here in storage. This is not going to be something that's going to be utilized on this farm because this is our greenhouse farm, of course. But it will be utilized where our sunflower field is, which we'll talk about that in a minute. Pretty nice house, actually, a relatively large house here. And then pretty much the land that kind of surrounds, there's a bit of a lake here. Let me give you a bird's eye view, the best I can do here. So we own all this land. Obviously, you see here, we own most of this land kind of coming up towards the lake. We do not own the lake. I mean, to make sure that's clear, we do not own the lake. We own the land kind of surrounding it up to here, back down to here, and then kind of all the way over to basically here. So it's not a huge amount of land, but I do think this is a perfect plot of land for our greenhouse farm, and so that's what we're kind of trying to go for. So really what I would like to do eventually is take more of these greenhouses and kind of line them this way, if you will, and then just continue that process as we move along. This is our production for the greenhouse farm. Might do another one, who knows. We only have one shed here. I think the rules state, which they're in the description there, and we can kind of go through it to an extent, but in case you're new and didn't come across the original one. But I think the rules state you have to have 3 barns, I think, in a house. Let me look. Hold on. Okay, so, 3 different farms. Each farm has to have a house, a silo, and 2 sheds. So I was incorrect. We have to have a silo. So we have 1 shed already put down. We need to put down a second shed and a silo for this farm. And this farm will mostly, I think, be done, but we're going to continue, obviously, to run it because it's going to be the one that's making us money for quite a while. One other thing I did not note that I'd like to note now is I do have a fantastic water generation process that will basically distribute water to all of our productions. Every one of them, it will distribute water. And basically, it's a wind generation. So the electric charge helps distribute the water from the lake. I've got it hooked into the lake here, and we'll distribute it directly underneath the ground to all of our productions. So that is super nice. Now, everything else we do is going to have to be manual, so that's why we have some liquid fertilizer in here. And full transparency, it's probably not enough liquid fertilizer for what we need. So if we go in here and take a look at everything, hydroponic greenhouses, they all require 4,000 fertilizer, so probably all of the fertilizer we bought is all going to be utilized there. Now, the big thing is our wood greenhouse. It's going to require fertilizer. Now, we can go, the liquid fertilizer is only 0.25, so it's not a ton, but we can go on an approach of only doing seeds. If we go that approach, obviously we're not making as much wood, but that's still something we could do starting out. There's also a solid fertilizer option as well if we want to go that approach, which would probably be a little bit cheaper as well. But so that's what we start with as far as our greenhouse land goes. Now, let me go ahead and just jump in here and show you the sunflower field. It's not the biggest field in the world. It's 3.31 acres. But, you know, it is a start, if you will, to beginning our second farm. Now, the first one, obviously, we did greenhouses, and then we went to root crops. We are going to be doing root crops on this one for our third farm. I kind of switched it up. So instead of doing the root crops the second farm, the third farm, whenever that comes, we will be doing root crops. The root crops we're going to do, though, I think we're going to do the onions. I'm not 100% sold and positive on that, but I think we're going to do onions. That one just came out with the Highlands DLC, so I think we're going to do that because I'd like to do those, but we will see how things move along as we get to that stage. We're not anywhere near that stage yet, but whenever that time comes, we'll look at it. I also made a modification to this. We are going to be doing precision farming on this reboot. We were not doing precision farming on the original one. The reason why we weren't doing precision farming is really when we started this, precision farming was not out. It is now obviously out, so we will be doing precision farming. Let's look at the finite details really quick here in case you're new to this. We are going to be playing on hard difficulty. It's going to be very difficult to make money. Seasonal growths on, days per month, etc. Everything that you normally would expect, it's all on. I don't have fieldstone or periodic plowing on, though, for this series. Everything else is exactly as you would expect. Everything's off or, etc., right? So, that's really what we got, right? Now, we do have a $250,000 loan. Now, I believe the original portion of this before my reboot here that I'm doing, I think I had paid off a tiny smidge of the loan. I have since cut that loan back up to $250,000. Obviously, I needed to have a little bit more money to do everything we did here, so we are pretty much back at square one, if you will, with the exception of the fact that we are starting with a lot more than we would have if it was a brand new version of the series. Does that make sense? So a bit of a reboot, a bit of a rethink, a retool, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're doing. And, we're not going to have enough to even fill up all these greenhouses. And there you go. We've got 2 more greenhouses that have no liquid fertilizer in them at all. So, bit of a problem there. Sure, bit of a problem. But, it's a start, if you will. Now, as far as this series goes, I don't expect this to be like a traditional series where it's coming out once a week, anything like that. It's just going to come out whenever I have the time to do it or I feel like doing a series on it. It's not going to have a set schedule of any sort. It's not going to replace anything else. This is something that, in theory, is a series that the goal of it is to try to continue to play this series all the way until the next Farming Simulator iteration comes out. So it's just going to be kind of a sprinkled in there as a bonus every once in a blue moon, whenever the time permits and I feel like doing an episode on this. So I just want to be clear about that this is not something you should expect to see on a typical basis, a day-to-day basis, a week-to-week basis, but I will try to get one out every couple of weeks, bare minimum. Just so we can kind of keep this process going. I wasn't happy with how it was going before, so this is the real reason why we modified everything, changed everything, sold everything, kind of starting anew, but still with the same basic flavor of what we started with before, which was the greenhouse productions, right? So hopefully this is something that you're excited about, you're interested in. Again, everything's in the description if you want to know more. But basically, the main goal is we originally we started with $500,000. Loan debt was $250,000. We still have that $250,000 because I got it back up to that, like I mentioned. We are allowed to do contracts. We're allowed to borrow. We're not allowed to do loans. And we're not allowed to lease. So in other words, I can borrow stuff for a contract, but I can't go out and just lease something for my own stuff, right? I can't go lease a harvester for that sunflower harvest, right? So we got to think about that. We've got to figure out a way to do that sunflower harvest with little to no money right now. So the stages, there's 3 stages. You have to finish 3 farms. Each farm has to have a house, a silo, 2 sheds. Each farm must have at least one business focus, but different than the other 2 farms. So in this one, we're focusing on doing pickles, vegetables, basically. So we can't do that in another one, which is fine. My goal for the sunflowers is eventually to do sunflower oil, right? And then the third one on the onions, I'm not sure yet. That's the thing where I'm not positive, right? I don't know what I'm going to be able to turn those onions into as far as the production goes. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. Now, the only thing really else to notate is that each farm can only supply their own business focus. So an example would be like, my greenhouse farm, right? My greenhouse vegetables can only supply the stuff on my greenhouse farm. I can't like say, oh, I'm going to make, I don't have anything installed for that, but let's say I had something installed for sunflowers. I'm a greenhouse for sunflowers, right? I can't say, well, I'm going to put those with my farm too. That's not possible. I could put a sunflower greenhouse down on my farm too if I want to, but I can't utilize that in farm 1. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. But that's really the basic goal here. It's just supposed to be a series that kind of is running for eternity of FS25 until the new one comes out. And so that's what we're kind of shooting for here. So I just wanted to kind of reboot this, restart this up, see how things go. And that's what we're doing. So let's buy, I guess we got to buy 4. Well, we probably need more than that because we need some for the wood too, right? Man, this is going to get real expensive here real quick. We'll buy 5. That's not going to be a ton for the wood, but we'll buy 5, and then we've got to get seeds for the wood as well. Man, we're running out of money quickly. Now the sunflower field that I purchased, it does need spraying. We don't have any way to spray it, so the only thing we can really do there is just kind of deal with it. There's not really going to be a whole lot else we can do. We're just going to have to suffer with the fact that it's not going to be the best yield sunflower, and hopefully as we move along and start to build up that second farm again, hopefully that will change, right? But right now, we're not going to be able to do that. Now, hopefully, once these greenhouses start producing, which they're not really producing anything yet, I haven't turned anything on, but once they start producing, then we'll be in a better spot, right? We'll be a lot happier with the amount of money we got coming in, and hopefully we'll be able to get that second farm going a little bit better than it currently is. But how's everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing good. Things are real good. I'm happy to be back into this series. I know I mentioned that already, but I'm just going to mention it again. I hope this one ends up being a little bit more positive than the first try of the Survive 25 series. That was I mentioned it, but that was truly one of the reasons why I stopped for so long, is that it just was not getting the positive notes of it. There was a lot of negative notes more than anything, and a lot of dislikes, which that's going to happen on every video. I fully expect that. I'm not saying I don't expect negative things, but at the same time, it was probably one of my most disliked videos that I was releasing as far as a series goes, for whatever reason. So I'm trying to modify that. I'm trying to change that. Hopefully we'll make it a little bit better this time, I guess is how I will put it. All right, all of the greenhouses should be full. That's my most important thing, honestly. I would like to do the wood too, but I want to make sure the greenhouses are full. They are. Okay. And as you can see, there's a lot of water going through here, and that's because I actually turned the water pump on while I was doing everything else. So I put that in, like the first thing I did was put the water pump in, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to turn it on because literally it's just an electric charge from the windmill spinning, creating the water pump to go through from the lake, right? So I was like, I might as well turn it on, and it'll start transferring everything over, and it's done a pretty good job of transferring everything over. Okay, so liquid fertilizer for the tree. Obviously it needs a little bit more, but you get the point. So, for the pickle production, what are we going to do? We've got the choice to do chili peppers. We've done lettuce in the past, so I'm going to X out lettuce. We're not going to do lettuce in this series, just to kind of give it a bit of a change. Olives, we're not making olives, so that's not possible. So it's basically tomatoes or chili peppers. I'm kind of impartial to both. I don't really care which one's which. Let me just show you that I do have a $250,000 loan. So there you go. I don't know. Should we do pickled chilies or pickled tomatoes? I guess we'll need to look at the menu here and figure that out. So tomatoes, the best price is $783. Chili peppers is $726. So I guess it doesn't really matter. The lettuce is obviously worth a heck of a lot more, but might end up utilizing that lettuce in the competitive one-tile challenge. So I'm going to stay away from that on this series, because this series is one that's going to run forever. There's not really a rush, if you will, right? You know what? I think I'm going to do the chili peppers. Even though they're smaller overall price, I think I'm going to do the chili peppers. Yeah, let's do chili peppers. So we want to turn on chili peppers and then distribute, and then chili peppers distribute, chili peppers distribute. Okay, so they all should be distributing, and they should be sending them to our pickle production. Now, one thing I will say is if this is enough to supply the pickle production, and there's too much going on where there's too many peppers in here and it's not chewing through them enough, we might end up doing both pickles and tomatoes. But we're just starting out here, so we will see how things go along here, right? We're not positive that that's going to be the case, but we'll figure it out. Now, we do need to get some seeds, so that's another expense, unfortunately, that we're going to have to do. So I'm just going to pull this over here somewhere for the time being. We'll leave it right there. Now, that tank is slightly unrealistic, but it's not as unrealistic as it could be. There are some that you could put like 5 million capacity in it. That just has a double capacity what it normally would. That's the only difference I made into it. Don't really mind if it's unrealistic, honestly, anymore at this point, but I do want to keep it within reason. I don't want to make it 5 million. That's just outrageous, right? You get what I mean. If we want to expand it a tiny bit just to make it so we have to do less trips back and forth, then so be it. But yeah, you get what I'm trying to get at. Let's just leave it at that. All right, so we're gonna buy the ones that have a little bit of extra here. So let's do 4. I think that's gonna be sufficient. That only leaves us with $10,000. It's not much. We do have a loan. I showed you that, $250,000, right? So that is going to be playing a pivotal role here. We're gonna be incurring those interest fees and everything, right? So, did I turn this on? I did now. I didn't before, but I did now. Okay, so there we go. The chili peppers are going. They're on storing. Now, do I want to put those on auto-selling? Part of me thinks I should keep them as storing, but we don't have a trailer or anything to actually go and sell these, so it's going to be kind of difficult to sell for a little while. It might be beneficial for us just to turn them onto auto-selling for the time being. And then, once we get a little bit more money under our feet here and a little bit more comfortable with where we are, then maybe at that point we can consider putting them on storing, and then that way we can stack them up. I don't think I mentioned it. I mean, it was obviously pretty clear. I'm sure you saw it, but I do have a front loader for this tractor as well. So that was kind of a bit of a carryover too. So there we are, gang. That's the reboot of Survive 25. We're going to continue this progress here. We're going to make this succeed. And I promise you, we are going to make this series, hopefully, turn around in the eyes of everyone who's watching it as well. The main reason why I wanted to continue with the greenhouses here as the main farm is because I really didn't. If I changed the starting from greenhouses, I feel like I might as well just start completely over. Which you can argue we kind of are, right? We kind of are. But, if we started completely over, we wouldn't have all of this stuff either, right? So it's a little bit of a modification to starting completely over, if that makes any sense. Okay, so let's see. It can't hold the rest of those? I thought it could. It definitely can. I must be too far away. You might also notice that I am once again trying the sand here, which I mentioned before. It just wasn't really, I wasn't really liking it. I'm giving it one more shot. We're gonna give it one more chance, the sand here, to try to be better, I guess is how we'll put it. Right now, it's fine, but it definitely, I don't know. It's not. I want that sand gravel mix from Spaskovo. That was fantastic. I absolutely loved that. I really want that back. We don't have it currently, but I do want it. Okay, so the wood liquid fertilizer. Part of me feels like I should store this too. It's basically making me wood and 3 wood chips because I kind of want to see what it looks like. And then maybe later on we can sell it, I guess, right? I don't know. But yeah, so these episodes might be a little bit shorter as well, at least early on here, because there's just not a ton for me to do right now. I don't have a ton of money. I don't feel confident right now in saying, yeah, let's go and buy more stuff. I think we really need that $10,919 for these loans until we actually start making some profit here from our pickle production. Now, hopefully, by the next episode, we will be making some more profit. The wood's chewing through there nicely. Everything's moving, which is great, right? We've got things going well. But that's really all I have for today. Let me know your thoughts. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that this seems like a more interesting take on the Survivor 25 series. Hopefully this changes your mind from the past if you were one of the individuals who didn't like the way I was going about it. But we'll find out one way or another, and we are not going to be rebooting again. This is the only time we're going to reboot this series, and we're going to run through it as we move forward. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you to my members. Cannot thank you guys enough. If you haven't done so already and you stumbled across this, make sure you hit smashing the like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, ideas, let me know down below. Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you like this reboot of the series and the approach and the path we're going to be going on, let me know what you think. As always, I'm always interested to hear. I will try to reply whenever I can. I can't guarantee I'll reply within 24 hours, but I will try to reply whenever I can to you. Yeah, check the Discord. Check my other link for my other channel out down below. Everything you need is down below, as always. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. I'll see you next time.